Well, so my idea, right?
Yeah.
And I was judged harshly for this in my neuropsych class the other day, was that I think what we should do is harness the hormones that biological women produce, so that when at other times when you're not pregnant, you can lactate. If you have if you have a desire to lactate regardless. And so everyone else in my class, they all said, that's a weird fetish and medicine should not be used for your kinks. But then I totally showed them because
She showed them?
Yeah. Well, if you want to breastfeed, you should just have a kid like God meant you to do. The teacher never kicked her out. But you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to be the one who can breastfeed whenever she wants.
You really have my attention.
Welcome to the Wholesome Show. Science stories for people who sit
Breastfeeding
at the back of the class, which is totally legit. Front of the class, back of the class, wherever you want.
Yeah.
All legit, all absolutely excellent.
Do you know, I've been lecturing for 2,500 years, and that's one thing that's never happened.
You breastfeeding at the front of the class? Or
Me or anyone else. Like, literally no one. Not even me. Although I'm interested in these chemicals to help me do that.
Yeah, no, look, so am I. I'm Will Grant.
I'm Dr. Roderick Griffin, currently lactating Lamberts.
Not currently lactating.
Not currently. I don't want to
I
put
too
limits
am
on
not
it.
currently lactating. I wouldn't.
Something else we have in
I
common.
wouldn't mind at the moment, but I'm not. The Wholesome Show is brought to you by the Australian National Centre for the Public Awareness of Science.
And that's all.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's nothing else.
All right. Listener, I don't know if you know this about Rod, but in the team here at Wholesome Bunker Studios, he is our senior ethics correspondent.
Yes.
He does ethics professional-like, not like me. I have.
No, but you are a gifted amateur in your defence.
At ethics,
You're very ethical.
Very ethical. So I thought, as the Wholesome Show's senior ethical correspondent, we might put him to use. Because, see, recently I stumbled across a Reddit thread where...
I don't know how it happened. I was just cruising the internet.
I was cruising the internet, and it was a collection of scientists who'd said, well, what would you do if you didn't have ethics? And
I have so many ideas.
And well, you can throw your ideas in too. So what I thought, and this is why I have the champagne bucket here today.
Yeah, you do.
I thought I'd go through and find some of these, and you can give your professional ethics opinion.
I'm prepared to do that.
Starting off from a bar that this was putting in ideas that are not ethical. So
I had a suspicion.
I just wanted you to comment. What could you do to make this ethical? Would you give this 5 stars of ethics, 0 stars? So I'm going to just draw out of this bucket at random.
Can I just throw down my disclaimer is just because I judge other people's ethics doesn't mean I use them myself. So
okay.
You could get either one.
Okay, fair enough. Now, these are all, I just went through this list and it was just great fun. These are all like, oh, that's wackadoo. That's wackadoo. Oh, and you're a bad human. You're a bad human for even thinking that. Some of them are super cute. Some of them are super cute, which is not what you normally think of ethics violations.
It's fair to say, given the way you set this up, I'll be the judge of that.
All right, I'm going to pick them at random, and you can tell me.
I like the way you've crumpled.
Oh my
them
God,
up.
I knew it was going to be this.
Is that because it was the only one that was folded, not crumpled?
No, these are all crumpled neatly, and so they are actually random because
it's
they're
rigged. If you're watching at home, and I know most of you never will, but there you go. Go onto youtube.us.wherever, and there you go.
You don't know how websites work.
No idea.
All right. Okay, so I did pick one at random, but I'm going to tell you there's a pattern. There's a pattern in this random. Experiments with social isolation intrigue me. Raise a child with no language and see what happens.
Fuck yes.
No contact. Wild children give some insights, but also a sample of the kind of trauma this can produce. Yeah. Completely and undeniably ethical. Undeniably unethical. Incredibly cruel, but so intriguing.
So it's kind of been done in a number of ways.
Yeah.
Do you want to know that?
I don't know.
I can tell you a story. I mean, I can tell you 2 stories. One, it's brought up in anthropology and linguistics all the time. A girl they called Little Jeannie.
Raised by wolves?
Nope. Her parents weren't great.
Oh.
They may have kept her in a basement, tied up, and without any light or anything for a decade or more.
I'm going to search for the less horrible ones.
But so that one of the things, of course, anthropologists being and psychologists being people who just want to make the best of things.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious to know, she was not. They didn't speak to her. They only spoke to her in grunts and shit, and they wanted to.
Hang on, the anthropologists and psychologists?
No, the parents.
Oh,
before they found it. So I think it was at least 10 years, maybe longer. She was in this situation. So it's a dreadful situation.
Yeah.
Undeniable. But people were, of course, curious about, well, what did she speak? And she just spoke in grunts and whispers. And as I remember my very English anthropology lecturer saying, and also she would, he was a bit David Attenborough, masturbate constantly because she couldn't do anything else.
Oh, dear.
But the ancient, it might have been Rome, it was either the Romans or the Greeks, whenever it's ancient. One of their kings, pharaohs, whatever, put a couple of kids into isolation.
Yes, this story came out where people were commenting on this and saying there was, and I don't know how much this was a made-up story, but supposedly an ancient Greek king said raise some kids with no language and see if they come out speaking Greek. Because his belief was that Greek was like if you cut the surface, you'd be full of Greek language. It was Greek all the way through.
And gyros.
Yes, indeed.
And they apparently did, and then it turned out, of course, the servants who fed them in isolation talked to them.
Well, I've just got to say that there's not a lot of science, like actually documented experiments from the ancient Greek world that we still draw on.
There's 4. I have them here.
Yeah, okay. All right. I'm
going to go with not ethical.
Not ethical. They're all not ethical.
I think we would return that to them and say, could you have another look at this, please?
Oh, God, another one. I'd like to raise babies in various planned conditions, such as without any adult human language, indoors only, no concept of the family unit. You've heard that one. Here we go. Yeah. All right, another one. This one. There are no living workbenches for testing cybernetic implants. I volunteer. So.
Oh yeah. Did you write that?
No,
That's
I didn't.
You.
No, I'm not a cybernetic person anymore. I thought it'd be cool.
Have you changed?
Are you allowed to volunteer for cybernetic implants testing?
Are you allowed to? Sure, depending on a whole bunch of other conditions. You can volunteer for whatever you want, but like if it was run at a uni, it would have to go through a bunch of. So if someone does volunteer, what'll happen to them? But you could.
Okay. All right. Here's one. I would like to see evidence of spaghettification. So spaghettification is the theory that as you approach a black hole, you time dilates, and the gravity is so long that you'll be stretched out, you'll be spaghettified. And he's like,
infinity.
I want to try that, like with giant electromagnets. I'll get a non-living human body. And I'll put magnets at different lengths. Increasing the electromagnetic strength should ultimately make the body go pop.
What the fuck are they talking about?
I don't know.
But you know what? When you hear, you know how I'm going to do it? Magnets. As soon as you hear magnets.
There is a couple more in here that have magnets. So
we're not even getting to ethics with that.
Should we experiment with dead bodies like that?
Yes.
Okay.
Are we? Is that my opinion you want?
Your opinion or
hell yeah, do what you want with a
opinion.
dead body. Like honestly, I think you should. But maybe don't tell the family.
Yeah, I think if I'm donating my body to science,
are you going to? Do you want me to sign a form?
Yeah, I'll donate my body to science. You can have it. You can look at perfection or whatever this is. You can say yes, this is a white man in his 40s. Absolutely.
Well, it's possible to be posthumously offended. We don't want it. What? How dare you?
Your body is so boring.
It's either too much or not enough going on.
I would be absolutely ghostly offended if science wouldn't take my body.
You sons of bitches.
There must be something you could learn from this.
What human meat tastes like? Back to ethics, probably not cool.
Okay. Here's an actually good one. I like this. So the goal of the thread originally was actually to talk about things that scientists would like to do, but they are either blocked by ethics or morals, or they can't afford it, or stuff like that. You know,
I thought about this. So when I first started being a uni person, like as in a student, I thought I'm going to do psych because I figured, humans behind everything. So let's learn all about humans. Then I thought, but I don't want to go and work at a uni. I want to work for a company like McDonald's where I can do whatever the fuck I want. And I've got labs all over the world to mess with stuff. Yeah, that's what I thought. But you can't.
Yeah, but also the thing about that as well is that, yes, you would do interesting work, but it'd be really quite boring. It's really about eking an extra, getting people to buy a larger packet of fries, or
slightly change the colour so people don't stay too.
My God. No offense to The psychologists of McDonald's. You're wonderful people.
No, you're not, and it would suck.
That's true. You're not.
The job
You're
sucks.
not. Okay, yeah.
And you work for a bunch of fucks. But
You changed, man.
I know. But the one that I like, and in fact it happened to an ex-lecturer of mine from 1,000 years ago. I think he was a tutor back then. He got bored or whatever, and he ended up working for a reality show, and that is where you get, comparatively speaking, a free lab. Work for a reality show, like go and work for early versions of Survivor.
No,
and
look,
stuff,
absolutely. I totally hear that. That's cool. All right, this one I like. I'm a physician, and I would love to see how far the placebo effect really goes. For those who are not familiar, the placebo effect is unexplained phenomena where people who take medicines that aren't real but believe they're real have an actual measurable effect, and it's a big part of medical research, and it's a fascinating thing. Like if we get what is our brains doing or our bodies doing that makes something work like it's medicine when it's not medicine? Anyway, I assume I didn't say he or she. Yes, they just want to explore this shit to its full extent. Can we treat chronic illnesses like arthritis, lupus, and bipolar disorder with just placebos? Can we start using them can we dial it up? What can we do to dial up the placebo effect? Is that unethical?
No. It's possible to fiddle with it, and it has been fiddled with. Should you? It's terrible. It's like a writing tutorial. Well, it depends. Should you? Yeah, because, I mean, the problem is thinking that only medicines that have a measurable biological effect are of any use.
Yes.
And there are many cases where they actually work and they don't know what the mechanism is. And the mechanism is therefore, it's just psychological, man.
Yeah.
But they're actually worth it. You know, people do get improvements a lot from placebo effect. So testing them more, absolutely. Go for it. How far do you take it? I used to think, I mean, this is just going to be a history of my study.
But if people are getting better, if you can figure out
I was interested the other way. Like I was thinking about it. When I first did anthro medicine, it was like, no, this is good. You like this.
No, I was just going to say it's in there. I know what you're going to say. I hope I know what you're going to say, but
Let's see if we're right. Yeah. So I wondered, and I went to my 15th honours supervisor and said, hey, what I want to test is beliefs about what's right and wrong and how they make you sick, culturally speaking. But the one I was interested in is when people feel heartsick and horrible when they've been cheated on.
Yeah.
Because what's right and wrong about relationships?
The broken heart syndrome.
It is not biological. You know, it's completely arbitrary.
Although.
No, the idea about what's appropriate is completely arbitrary.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
And it used to amaze me, this idea, you know, undergrad, very excited psych student going like, whoa, because people can be so miffed about the sociological and cultural phenomenon that they've been cheated on, they get really goddamn sick. Nocebo effect.
Yeah.
Reverse. But I couldn't quite do that. I had to do a really
So
boring
I'll
version.
cheat and jump ahead because it's in there somewhere. But someone did say, "Well, I'd love to test the reverse. What if we give people real medicines, but tell them they're placebos?
Yeah.
This is not a good medicine."
And surely that's been done.
And I don't know if that's unethical or not.
Wow, that's a tricky one. So what you're saying is you kind of go, okay.
It'd be tough to know what sort of condition. So someone has a headache. You got to induce a headache or something, and you give them Panadol or something like that.
Bureaucracy.
Read some forms. First read some forms, and then we're going to give you crap headache medicine. Doesn't help. It doesn't help.
But actually, it's the best headache medicine in the world.
I don't know. Or something that's more linear.
I wouldn't use a headache or
it's got to be something that's quite linear. Like you've got
cancer.
An infection, like a bacterial infection could be treated with antibiotics or something like that. And you can,
it shouldn't be something that very clearly can be induced by stress because that's too obvious.
Or something that's clearly psychological. If you could get the most biophysical sort of condition.
I think it'd be interesting. But I mean, that is nocebo. That is, can you block the good stuff with your belief, with your brain?
Yeah.
Everyone, it's like laughter is the best medicine. Crying is the worst.
There you go. I like that. I like that one. That was one of the nice ones.
I think that's a very interesting one.
I'd love to see how much we could improve on the human body physically rather than chemically, but using simpler ideas since bionics aren't advanced enough, such as strengthening the skeleton and joints with metallic implants. We already do that. I got some. You got some. And shock absorbers
Wolverine.
that would form a kind of endoskeleton. It would hopefully mean we can withstand more force before being injured, such as in a car crash, and we can lift and do things that require more strength. Also, look into the possibility of subdermal armor plating with shock absorption.
I'm in.
We'd even be more protected, and because why not? Of course, this requires a lot of unethical human testing. I get it. You
It's
know,
not necessarily unethical. It doesn't have to be unethical.
it does sound like.
How far you take it? You're going from nothing to we're going to, what is it, inject adamantium?
Well, we're going to inject some armor under your skin. You know, one thing though, I don't like the idea of armor under my skin. I like the idea of armor over my skin, so that my skin. I don't want a bullet sort of stopping like 1 centimeter into me.
It still hurts.
It still hurts.
Bleeding a bit. I got an infection as well.
Yeah, I don't like
but
that
the bullet
one.
didn't
I don't like that
perforate my organs.
All right. Okay, this one's short, so it's going to be another social isolation one. It is. I want to. This one's a good one. I want to see what happens if I raise a child completely carnivorous, only consumes meat and eggs, etc.
It's already been done.
I'm sure it has.
No, Inuit.
Oh, yes, that's true.
There are people who don't have access to.
Yeah.
Supposedly,
Yeah. If you live in a very cold climate and there are no...
it's meat product.
Yeah.
It's all meat product. So they could just go and read a damn book.
Or I guarantee parents amongst you are thinking, no, that's my kid right now. That's a meat-only diet right now. Or we can go to Jordan Peterson, who was on a meat-only diet for quite some time. And
of course he was.
Not because of the diet, but got sick. So
I knew a dude back in my uni days who he thought he was cool. So he used to work at the garbage dump doing the recycling off the tip face.
That is
it's a good start, isn't
in
it?
some ways. Look, A, I applaud. The job needs to happen, and B, it would actually be fascinating a little bit because you'd see some wacky shit being thrown out. And actually, a long time ago, one of our very early episodes. Do you remember we talked to someone up at the dump in Sydney?
Yeah,
and they were talking about the weird shit that was thrown out. Oh my god,
the recycling plant. No, this guy, he used to turn up at the bar periodically and he'd be wearing some new item of clothing that looked like, someone had taken a live goat and just stuck it on, put sleeves in it. And he's wearing it because he found it on the tip face. But he prided himself.
Okay.
Yeah, he would find it and wear it. So that was pretty gross. He didn't smell great. And
did he get a lot of sex or not a lot of sex?
No, he ended up with this weird, let's say Scandinavian lady friend. He was a very enthusiastic lady. But he used to pride himself on the fact that all he ate was meat, and he only smoked the 16 milligram Winfield Reds.
The pure tar.
Yeah, pure tar. Only ate meat, and I'm pretty confident that periodically, when he was at a table with a bunch of people talking, there'd be a waft of horribleness that I assume was meat farts.
Pure meat.
Yeah. He was not a well-looking dude. His hair was falling out. He was very pale. He was skinny where you shouldn't be and fat where you shouldn't be.
Yep.
So it's been done around me, but he wasn't a child. He made that decision as an adult. I was going to say grown up, but that's not right.
All right, what do we got here? Oh, this one's weird. Okay, it's kind of hard to describe. It's not brilliantly written.
Paraphrase.
He wants to, and I'm just using the general he. I don't know.
If it's idiotic, it's probably a
they want to develop some sort of AI robotics automated treatment, but then for some reason test it in the third world unrestricted. So I don't know. I don't know.
What I want is poor people with no laws who are desperate. I don't care what the experiment is.
That's it. There is a huge thread here of some racist, and I want to sort of cloak it in some.
In their defense, they're also classist.
Oh, yes.
It starts with that before you get to the idea.
When a surgeon is in the theatre of 40 hours of war zone, I bet a robot could match the quality of operation. Imagine auto-diagnosing and dispensing medicine, giving the wrong pills to only a few % of patients. Yeah. In most places would be an unacceptable high misprescription rate, but the sheer volume and workload relief would probably end up with more lives saved. Thanks, buddy. Just seriously, this horrendous. And you know what? I don't know where this person is from, but
no.
Using the word third world, I'm guessing, is not from the third world. Maybe from a country, maybe America, that probably has worse medical treatment than...
But also, let's just use robots. Are you aware of where robots are at right now?
I know.
Can you diagnose and do surgery? I'm a lawnmower. What are you fucking talking about? Yes, it's a Roomba. So the Roomba can actually, it seems to detect dust. It doesn't detect it. It just wanders around in a pattern and sucks shit up in its way. Like that. Even before we get to, let's just find a brown person who's desperate and fuck with them.
Yeah.
Like,
look, I get the underlying impulse there that there could be versions of medicine in the future that use AI or robotics. You know, you could imagine, like there's a lot of telesurgery or something that people are talking about that you might be able to do, like virtual surgery. You get, you know, the world's best ex-surgeon, and rather than flying them around all over the place, they could literally be doing virtual surgery, and probably already are. You know, I don't doubt that you could have a consulting person, consulting from New York or Switzerland or something like that, on Skype while you're doing the surgery locally. That would be good.
Could they dial in from the third world?
Or to the all right.
New York, Switzerland, or third.
Okay, so here is an actual cancer researcher, but not interested in cancer at the moment.
Last century.
Mainly, what would happen if a particular island in the Canary Islands blows up? It's a dormant volcano. What happens if it blows up? Because what he's thinking is, I want to test if the Atlantic will have tsunamis like the Pacific Ocean. Because the Pacific Ocean, is shallow. That's the look of, I did not know this. Pacific Ocean's shallow.
I'm sort of convinced I do know this.
Atlantic Ocean is deep. Doesn't really have tsunami. Did you know that? I didn't know that. This is what this guy reckons.
Is this as verified as all our facts?
Would it cause a mega tsunami or be a lot smaller? I would love to study this.
This is on ethics. This is another one that they're so far before talking about the ethics. What if we blew? What they should have said was, what if we blow up one of the?
Here's a nice ethical dilemma. Here's a good one.
Okay.
I'm an atmospheric.
Go left and kill the grandmother.
No. Always run over the fewer people. That's what you do.
I kill the old person unless it's me.
Oh, fair enough. I'm an atmospheric scientist. I've always been fascinated by thunderstorms and how they're triggered. We've known for a long time that a big forest fire can start convection and create thunderstorms. We got a lot of that during the recent bushfires a year ago. I've always been curious what would happen if you lit a huge bonfire. Would have to be massive, at least 12 acres or more, on a day when we are forecasting severe thunderstorms. Could we create a man-made thunderstorm or tornadoes?
Oh, I know the answer. No.
It might.
This is my 3-acre bushfire.
Yes.
Thunderstorm be gone. I love that people are prepared to ask the questions. I mean, that's adorable.
No, but he wants to start the thunderstorms.
No, I don't think that will work. I think you need to burn down a state.
Okay, maybe. Yeah, okay.
But these people, I assume they're functioning adults, which amuses me because I remember as a child going, I know how to help the army, and I designed this as a child, right? Because I'd seen Star Wars in the 70s. What you do is, right, if you want to make weapons better, is you get this handheld laser gun.
Yes.
So I proposed that and I drew a picture. And if you need to power it, you put the power in the backpack.
Okay. Full
stop. I sorted the problem for them.
All right.
This is not that different.
I like this one. This one's a some of them talk about experiments that are long-term experiments, as in this would take quite some time, even recognizing this. So this person, they want to develop an artificial system to grow a baby outside the womb. I understand that. Not necessarily ethical or unethical necessarily.
No, it's just a thing.
It's just a thing at the moment. But the ethical experiment they want to go to is run this for quite some time and see if because currently we've got a balance between a woman's vagina and baby head size. That baby head size gets too big and you can't get it out. So this person wants...
No, that's not true. I got out. I got a fucking big head.
You were just the limit though, I'm sure. I don't want to talk about your mum's vagina here, but you just, I don't want to.
I wasn't, but man.
This person is like, I want successive generations of people in artificial wombs.
With bigger and bigger heads?
With bigger and bigger heads.
Why?
I don't know.
How big can a fetus's head be? Is that the name of this?
I think it is.
This is the paper in the Lancet. How big can a fetus's head grow? What are they talking about? It's like, Will's just died, people. I'm going to have to carry the rest of this on my own. So what I don't understand, that's the biggest bit of paper you pulled out. Will's not well. We're just going to push pause.
Oh, God.
But is that really it? Like, how big can a head get before it's born?
Yes.
Who fucking cares? Why is that something that... I'm going to be honest. I'm curious about a lot of things, but I'm not curious about that. Will's not well. So I'm going to tell you another story. I went to a high school with a guy who was very anti-woman. He was in an elite high school, boys, while Will gets better. And he proposed the exo womb. This is in the early 80s because he just didn't understand women and he didn't think they were necessary.
So his goal is I could do this on my own?
Other people could do it. I don't think he even acknowledged that he had for reproductive organs. You're gonna be okay.
I'll get there. I'll get there. Okay, I got another one. There are quite a few people that are wondering about parenting broadly. This one, I love the underlying thread here. I want an app to determine your likelihood of having a healthy child. Now, if you read through this a little bit,
what?
Yeah, wait. It's not about your likelihood.
Based on a questionnaire, though.
It's about testing other people that you look at. How healthy is the child that I have with this person? So, I want to collect.
Fabulous.
I want to collect from latest reviews and WHO stats, etc., and compile the prevalence of every disease I can find. Then make an app, or even just a web page, where it randomly sample these prevalences across, say, 1 million people, and determine the percentages of various children how healthy they are. Then you can select and say different things. It could include racial background settings for more accuracy, or genetic inheritance if someone could write complex code. Basically, this person wants to test each person to see how healthy the children would be that if you could have with them. So,
were you on an incel site?
I think it is. All right.
So literally, this is a person. This is one of these classic dudes. It's definitely a dude who thinks the only. Obviously, I've never had intercourse in my life, and I probably won't. But if I chose to,
the problem is the healthiness of the children.
I want to know how healthy, how fecund my partner will be.
Yep.
I'm going to shortcut this. That person will never get laid.
I think so.
Ever, for any reason. Like literally, they'd turn up at a prostitute and say, "I've got all the money you need," and they'd say, "No,
thanks.
Stop scanning me with your app."
There was a nice thread. Through these of people who I might call a little bit poo oriented.
That's me.
Not to say this podcast has never talked about poo before, but there was certainly a thread of people that was like, serious answer, but I'd take about 1 billion people, lock them into a completely contained living space for their entire life, and science the shit out of what people eat and their reaction to what they eat. I would measure every single molecule that goes in and every single molecule that goes out.
Mm-hmm. 1 billion people.
Yeah, and supposedly this is justified. We know exactly if broccoli is good or if cigarettes are bad or you should eat eggs. And it's like, dude, we know these things already.
What are you talking about, mate?
It's really just collecting a lot of people's poo.
There is not a single female in these, is there? No female has touched this site.
I told you, it was a Reddit forum, so I don't know their gender, but I can guess. So,
who are the people who think of that? Like, if they're doing it for comedic effect, thank you.
Okay, here's a cool one.
Yeah.
And it actually does parallel with the topic I'm going to do in a couple of weeks' time. I would specifically breed antibiotic-resistant bacteria over and over that isn't affected by traditional pharmaceutical options.
I think we're already doing that. It's just not quite as specific. But anyway.
We are doing it by accident, absolutely. Would you do it in the lab, deliberately develop more and more antibiotic-resistant bacteria?
Because? There's no because?
Well.
I just would?
Well, we in the labs, as I'll tell you in a couple of weeks' time, we spend a fair bit of time doing what's called gain of function research on viruses. Gain of function is how can I make this virus
as strong as possible,
in different sorts of ways. So either more likely to transmit, or more likely to catch when it's sneezed on someone, or more likely to kill, more likely to anything. And
cause science.
Gain of function is going to be it's a huge topic, and it will undermine science for a decade. And there's a lot that we're going to explore. Anyway, that's a prelude for more conversation.
But holy fuck!
Should we test antibiotic resistance in bacteria?
I need a reason, because I feel like, in a sense, with less control, we do that by accident all the time.
Okay, so for this, so. Legitimate science would say, okay, we can make things more dangerous if we have a reason and if we're controlled. That would be like you're right.
A reason kind of helps.
Yeah. So what you're saying, we need a reason here, not just I'd like to know.
Yeah. And look, I'm not against blue sky research, but there's a bunch of things. I'd like to know what it's like to trap a child in a box until they're 20.
Yeah, there are a lot of those. Yeah, and absolutely lots.
I'm curious about a lot of things, and I'm not going to say them out loud, but I would not also ask to do them.
Yeah. Okay.
And that one. That one, I would say, give me a reason. Tell me why.
Well, is it knowing what's coming in antibiotic resistance?
Well, but we're finding that out. Don't sit back and wait. Grab a beer and wait. Because we're doing that.
I think that's interesting.
Yeah, I need a reason. And look, most of these do. I mean, this is the thing. So we see, with going to the ethics thing just for a moment, if someone just proposes a thing for the sake of it, that doesn't go anywhere. Like you need part of it being ethically worth considering is there a point? And the point is, no one's ever tried to drown babies in pig's blood before. And you're like, well, that's true.
Indeed.
That's
what
true.
would be your question that would drive that? Yeah.
What is it that you would like to find out from that? Is like how much longer does it take a baby to drown in pig's blood than water? You're like, we
don't need to know.
We don't think that's
I still love it's not the same question, but it's there was a great paper once. We're never going to do. Everyone holds up random controlled trials as the with a placebo
with your double
comparison,
blind blah blah
all
blah.
that.
Yep.
You're never going to do that on parachutes as well. That's
they work pretty well,
and well enough. So there's a nice thread of weird physicists that have come in here, and I think this is weird.
And at our uni, but carry on.
This one, I would really love to have a hunk of plutonium in the attic above my bedroom.
What? No, that's not a physicist then.
No, probably not.
No, that's not.
Okay, yeah.
What I want to do is like eat this radioactive thing. Okay, you're not a physicist.
So I think whilst this was meant to be a thread for actual scientists, a bunch of non-actual scientists
It might have been a little hijack.
They believe this might give them powers.
Radioactive spider.
Yeah. Not quite as wacky as that. Like they did kind of justify that you get used to the radiation. I don't think you do. And then
no, it's okay. I've done this before.
And
I'll
be
fine.
And then you would be able to sit around other forms of radiation for what reason? I don't know.
So that's no different to I think the first episode we did of this version of the Wholesome Show, which was nuclear gardens.
Yes, it was.
If it's radioactive, it's got to be better.
Yes,
that's the reasoning. Right?
It's kind of like it's very comic book. Like it's like I want to sleep with a lump of plutonium.
Entirely.
I did like that person was bearing their own risk. It's not like I want to put a lump of plutonium above my child's bedroom or a child's bedroom. I'll do it myself. So, okay. Here is another social isolation one, but this is probably my favourite one. And it's just...
Are you going to shit yourself again?
I don't know why I did. It hit
No, I'm glad you did. I'm just going to think of a story to fill the airtime.
I'd like to raise a child with absolutely no conception of liquid.
I feel like I've done mushrooms without eating anything. What does that even mean?
I don't know.
Was that the end of their point?
They did say a few other things, and then when they're 18, throw them into a pool. And I'm like, okay, that's not a good punchline. I just like the punchline of I want to raise someone with no conception of liquid. Okay. Here's another poo one.
You have my attention.
This is a microbiome thing. I want to start with a sample of mother's poo. And then when the child is first born, get a sample of theirs, compare it, and continue comparing the two samples throughout breastfeeding and bottle feeding. I would basically study every poo the child has, their eating habits, their health conditions. The end goal is to see how our microbiome changes throughout childhood, which actually...
No, it's not. They're just a fetishist.
It's not.
Are they getting their mother's poo the whole way as well?
They are, and some helpful people chimed in and said, "My wife's about to have a baby. We can. I'll have her shit in a box for you tonight."
Here's my Gmail.
Look, no, totally legit research there, and I don't see actually what's unethical about that at all.
I don't look. Again, I can't tell stories about what I've seen in the ethics committee, but some of my favourite ones have involved doing things with poo.
I guess as a child, if you turn 18 or not even as old as that, you don't have to be that old to be horrified, and then say, hang on, so every poo you have sent to someone else, you've put it in a box and sent it to someone.
You've gone too far. It'd be like, you've collected my poo?
Yes, indeed.
You literally gathered all my poo.
Yeah, I think that would be.
I don't care what you did afterwards.
It's like there's a big dilemma in parenting. Oh, it's not even a dilemma anymore. People have moved on, I think, largely. Yeah. How much you should share photos of them when they're kids. People put their photos of the kids up on Facebook or social media and stuff like that.
Pedophile thing.
No. Don't show nudes. No, that's a different thing. Okay. No, it's more the they haven't given consent, and maybe when they're 20, they'll be like, I didn't want that photo of me as a 6-year-old, me as a 4-year-old, me as a whatever.
But that's removing the fun part, which is the only reason I regret not having children, which is embarrassing the shit out of them at every opportunity.
Yeah, that's true.
So there are trade-offs here.
Yeah.
I'm concerned about what that takes from the parents.
But yeah, I
Yeah.
can they consent to all their poo?
Consent for children is a difficult thing too. Like how you actually gather it and verify or are comfortable with the fact that you did or did not get consent. Just briefly being serious.
No, you're allowed to inject the serious whenever a serious moment comes up.
That is a question. And you get some people who will propose things to go, oh, but these people are underage, so their parents have to answer. And you say, well, actually, they're 16. They can probably work out whether they want to do this or not.
Indeed.
And there are these grey ages. But
that would be an interesting
3-year-old, do you mind if I collect your shit? The 3-year-old's like, I don't care, I got a puppy.
Totally. But that's an interesting question, though. I think that, under many of these, like the plutonium or or a lot of the social isolation questions, there aren't actually interesting questions. But I think under that, microbiome is an interesting thing to say, okay, how much does it change over the tradition? And if they're eating an all-meat diet or a no-meat diet or something like that.
All-meat diet.
Here's another weird physics one. This one wants to... okay, not a physicist. I would love to get a hunk of neutron star and bring it to Earth and study it.
Okay, I'm going to stop you there. With?
Yeah.
I love a hunk too.
All wackadoo. But it does get to this point where it probably has something to do with magnetic fields in a young neutron star. And we found a class called magnetars where the magnetic field would kill you. And it's like, okay.
What are you talking about, mate? It's magnets again. Also, yeah, I'd like to get a chunk of neutron star. Okay.
I would like to make human able to photosynthesis and see how much it will affect humanity socially and economically.
Okay, get on with it. I'm in.
Yeah, I don't mind that.
That's like Poison Ivy from the Batman stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
She photosynthesized.
I would like to test the effect of a computer program that makes your phone act like a mirror, but with a twist. It uses the camera to produce a reflection that looks like the celebrity of your choice. So you basically see yourself reflected as Scarlett Johansson or Ryan Gosling, etc. If the subject avoided all other mirrors' photos of themselves, how long would it take before their internal image of their appearance becomes that of a celebrity?
Forever.
Will not get there. Get there.
Like I know. I say I look. Brad Pitt looks like me, and
I'm right, totally.
I can tell the difference between us.
More social isolation ones. Does the attractiveness of people? This person actually, basically, I'll paraphrase. They want to raise some kids only around ugly people,
as judged by.
Yeah, there you go. That's it. They were wondering if ugly is inherent or something like that. Okay.
I can answer that one. No. Ugly is socialized. I'm done.
This one, I want to work on genetically modifying the genes that control our cones in our eyes. I want to make heat-seeking dogs. So,
what? I think they can do that. I'm cold. That seems warm. That's like you asked me the other night. We were backing out of my car a few weeks back, and I had my reversing camera on. You're like, what is that? Some kind of night vision? It's like, yeah, it's called reversing lights. This is the same thing. Heat-seeking dogs. Dogs can tell temperature. They know when it's hot or cold.
Okay, this one. This guy just says, I want to clone myself. That's boring. That doesn't say anything.
No, it really doesn't.
Oh, this guy. This guy.
It's Keith again.
It's another social isolation one with a weird sex quirk.
Are they all social isolation, or that's just what you happen to hit?
No, there are so many social isolations. So many people said, I would like to raise children on an island. And it's fucking freaky. Like, I know part of the forum is you're trying to compete to get a little bit weird. But there's a whole bunch of, what's the weird way I can socially isolate kids? It's gross.
I could take out that part, which is not insignificant. But I get the idea that you're going, okay, what is this? This is all the classic. Are there linguistic fundamentals? Are there baseline attractivenesses and all these things in humanity? Probably. Ish.
Or as this one says, is sex instinctual or is it social? I'm paraphrasing, because what they say is, I want to know how long it would take a group of children raised to puberty would figure out sex. I'm sure
about 8 minutes.
I'm sure they'd figure out masturbation at some level, but how long would it take for them to figure tab A into slot B? This kid, so raising the kids as normally as possible. So it's not all social isolation, but you're not allowed to mention sex. I think there are a lot of places that do that.
And I think they'd work it out pretty quickly.
And
there's something interesting.
There would be no shame or deterrent, and then figure out how much sex is instinct versus how much sex is social.
Okay, so masturbation is something kids work out one way or another anyway, so it wouldn't be a big stretch to go, what if they're into it too? Like kids do, before you get sinister about it.
I know.
What if we all do this?
Oh, I get it. I get it. I can understand. Look, it's a legit thing. But the other thing I think is...
I don't think that's a profound question.
Dogs, for example, don't do a lot of talking about sex.
Mine do.
And
they ask a lot of questions. It's really quite awkward.
But I'm sure you put a couple of dogs on heat together. I don't know what on heat means. Does that mean horny or not horny? It's Lady Horny and Mr. Horny.
Actually, it seems to be because our little dog, our girl dog, we were literally, she was booked in to get desexed on Monday.
And she got horned up.
And on Friday,
she got pregnant.
She went on heat.
She knew it was coming.
She went premature, and she didn't seem to be interested. We had to wait. You can't desex.
You can't do it while they're on heat.
While they're doing their thing. So we had to not do that. Our boy dog, who had his balls removed as a youth, was extremely interested in her a lot.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
She, however, was not.
Yeah.
So like her being on heat wasn't her going, give me some big boy. But he's like, I don't know what's going on there, but I want a bit of that.
So
I don't even have balls, but I'm into it.
So that would be the thing that I would be very surprised if humans as mammals or as animals needed society to tell us to have sex.
Humans would work out how to fuck. I have no doubt. None whatsoever.
Another social isolation. And this one says, can you raise someone how unreactive you can make them? Like just turning them into someone that could see the most horrific thing ever, and they're just like, okay, whatever. Why would you think that?
What I want my kid to be is a proper psychopath.
Yeah, just no. I want to raise them to be a psychopath.
I think you can, but then the problem is the spin-off effects like PTSD, etc.
Okay, here's a slightly more interesting one. I want to. This is. I want to introduce mice into different environments that slowly become harsher and harsher in an attempt to make them evolve. Like I want to make them completely aquatic. So this is it's attempting to drive evolution, I think, is what they're saying.
That's what it smells like. Yeah.
It seems very slow though, because it's going to take many generations. When you could probably do some CRISPR and select for.
That is interesting though. So the idea that you would basically stuff gills in mice.
We certainly study evolution, and that's why we use the fruit flies, stuff like that. Yep. Things that breed quickly. Yep. We definitely study evolution, and that's a legitimate thing to do. And I think the response of evolution to environment is absolutely a legitimate question.
I have. This isn't me speaking professionally because I don't do animal ethics.
That's all right.
Just that's my arm's.
Oh
length.
yeah, that's your boundary.
That's my arm's length thing. Fuck yeah. I love the idea. Like I'm very interested in human-animal hybrids. I think all that stuff is absolutely
that was definitely in there.
I don't know. Must be. But this is not that different. Let's try and find a way to get mice to breathe underwater. I say yes.
It was. I never found it. I never found it. I know we're doing a bit of a reminisce here. In the episode I did on the foxes ages ago, the guy that was domesticating foxes, there was another Soviet scientist, and he had this quote. He's like, he was breeding dogs to try work out how to
accent, please.
And he's like, what? Do you want dog that has eyes on top of head? I can do that. Do you want dog that crawls on the bottom of the pond? I breed for any of them.
Do all this. Yeah. One has head like harmonica, shits through eyeballs. It's fantastic.
Okay, that was the opposite of the placebo. That was the guy that wanted to test real drugs to see if he could say they don't work.
Yeah. Comes up a lot, that guy.
I don't even understand why this is an ethical question. I want to milk orb spiders and use it to build better dental fillings.
Okay. Yes.
Go ahead, buddy. Go ahead.
Tick. That's not ethics. That's about, does that mean anything?
It's more the question of how do you milk a spider?
Very small tongs.
Yeah, very delicately, I think. This one wants a school for left-handed people. That sounds nice.
Don't they have that?
Also, no, this is the
why
theory.
Segregate?
This is the theory. I'm left-handed, and I've always heard lefties are right-brained, creative, and righties are left-brained, logical. They're not. It's not true. Anyway, he wants to set up a school that's all more oriented around lefties, and so then at the end, will the left-handed people become more logical and the right-handed people become more creative?
Yeah, go away. Mate. Mate.
Another social isolation one.
Good.
Put some kids on an island, and what would language sound like if they just invented their own language? Thanks, buddy.
Well, they made the documentary Nell with Jodie Foster and Liam Neeson.
And what does it sound like? Okay.
Like, you can watch it.
Here's another social isolation one. Except raise a group of children to believe ears are a taboo organ. Everyone wears earmuffs all the time. It's naughty to show each other ears.
Okay.
And then they get a fetish.
Who doesn't have an ear fetish? You haven't done oral?
Oh no, I want to leave that one for last. That was my no. Okay, no,
No, leave it.
It's not even radical. It's just
put it aside.
It's a cutie. It's just like, what is your thing? This guy just wants to turn up the Large Hadron Collider as much as possible. Just see what'll happen when you make the energy go crazy.
Turn it up.
Turn it up.
Turn it to 11.
I don't think they have dials, and they're just scared to go. Well, we took it to 5, and we don't want to go up to 6 or 7.
Why did Heinrich make this go to 14 when we only need 3?
It's not how it works, and I've always loved, like, when you actually obviously. When you think about it, any big complicated physics machine, a nuclear power plant or something, it's not just an on or off switch. It's complicated bits of raising things in and out and making physics happen. And it's just this, just make it more.
Make it a lot. Let's do it just before it blows up.
This is someone's job, and they're just working. I work in a pathology, and when we get a colon or bowel, after someone who's died, they're trying to work it. It comes in with a bunch of attached fat.
What a shit job.
Yes.
Pun not intended.
Wait. Part of our job is to go through the fat on the colon or the bowel and find as many lymph nodes as we can. They may be large, sunflower seed sized to even gumball sized and firm, but most often they're about 1 millimeter.
How firm?
It's so hard to find them all. I have some ideas to make it easier. I'd like some vibrating platforms and fire and...
So would I. What?
Go ahead. You can do that. You can do that.
I don't think that's ethics.
I think your job sucks, and go ahead and.
They don't sound like they think it sucks. They sound very into it.
I
want
know.
a vibrating fire platform to find lymph nodes on bowel fat.
No, that's another social isolation. Raise some kids different and see if they like each other or something. That's so boring.
Oh God, it is. Read anything.
Can you breed people to become more attractive?
Seems to have worked for us.
Like, that's what sexual selection is.
It's also called, you probably haven't heard of it, it's a thing called eugenics.
More isolate some twins. Holy! This is the thing. This is the thing, listener. I was horrified at how many people are thinking, you know what I'd really like to do is isolate some kids. Like,
yeah. Well, look. If their reasoning, given it's only theoretical, is they want to find out what happens about humans, that's one thing. If it's just like, I just really want to isolate kids, that's a different story.
I think what it's actually is not necessarily a sadistic thing. I think it's actually people are really torn about their parents, and they're like, what does science say? Is it me because of my genes, or is it me because of how I was raised?
Can I blame my dad or not? Yeah, maybe.
Set up some societies that have weirdly skewed gender ratios.
I think we've done that.
Yeah, and it ends bad. It ends bad. There's a lot of problems with that.
Yeah, I like my car. That got developed.
Usually ends in war.
A lot of things do, though.
Like if you have a lot of men, usually ends in war.
We get bored easily.
Another social isolation, but this one completely deprivates someone of their eyesight and hearing even before birth. Let them grow up and then give it back to them. No, I don't like you. I don't like you.
Yes.
This person just wants a blue dog, like really blue. Like
I'm pretty confident that can be done.
No, very blue.
Yeah, they made blue monkeys and blue mice.
Yeah, so I want a blue dog. I put a parrot brain in a human body to work out how long would it take them to work out how to use fingers. I love this.
That's the question.
This is what I would do, and it's like, you know, the whole brain transplant.
Yeah, it's not straightforward.
It's not easy.
And I feel like, you know, the IKEA thing where you go, what do we do with this extra screw? When you're plugging a parrot brain into a human nervous system, you're like, we seem to have at least 6 or 7 extra screws. I don't know where they go.
And you know what I want to test is what parrots do.
Fingers.
How long they take to work out fingers. All right, this is cute. So I experiment on ancient coins. Museums are generally against me doing a full compositional analysis, as that would involve me dissolving the whole coin in acid, but it would be really nice.
Good for you.
It just wants to dissolve some ancient
This is
coins.
museums are against me. Hi, it's me again. Can I have that Roman coin, the only one from Hadrian?
This is the one that won the thread. I want to take DNA from infamous serial killers like Jeffrey Dahmer or Albert Fish or the like, clone them, then have a baby raised in a normal, supportive, loving family. I'd study the kids throughout adulthood to see how much is nurture.
So that's never been thought of before. Boys from Brazil would be the classic movie.
Oh, really?
That.
Yeah.
That was where they... it was one of the famous 70s writers of 70s movies. So they basically, a whole bunch of Hitler clones were placed without the knowledge of the parents into different places.
How do they all end up?
I don't remember. It was a long time ago. But it was, basically that was it. Boys from Brazil, they'd clone a bunch of baby Hitlers to try and get another Hitler. I'm going to go with it probably didn't work. Also, I'm going to go with that was a movie. But this doesn't seem that different. Like, are you a little serial? Who's a little serial killer? Are you?
Yeah, I don't see what that's going to tell us. I mean, okay,
nature, nurture, blah, standard thing. But I mean,
it does seem that nature nurture is driving a lot of this.
Huge amount. That's what all the isolation experiments, other than for weird fetishes, that's what they all are.
Yep. Here's another one. Clone a human, many copies, raise them in different environments, and answer some questions about nature versus nurture.
Also been done in a movie starring what's his name? Michael Keaton.
Oh yeah.
Called something stupid, and they kept cloning him, or he kept cloning himself, and he got dumber and dumber. Each photocopy got stupid. They all looked like him. What was it called? It was like an 80s Michael Keaton movie where he clones himself. You wouldn't have seen it. I can't believe I've seen it.
I do remember a poster for it, though.
Yeah.
So
and you just get more and more like kind of versions of himself.
Why would that happen? Another social isolation one about language. Do the kids... Yeah, but this was being nice and saying I would teach them basic survival skills.
Oh, humanitarian.
I think there was a bunch of people in the thread saying, you put babies on an island, they die. Like, it's not a thing. You don't need to test that.
Not an
and they're like, well, okay, I will give them some basic survival skills. And it's like, dude, they're babies.
Yeah,
like,
you're 2 months old. This is fire.
Here is a Bowie knife. Look, there's a compass in top of the knife.
If you get cut and you unscrew it, you can stitch yourself up again.
Selectively breed humans to give them longer and longer lifespans, which is good because science said this week that
you just can't.
That you just can't, which is bullshit, and science should be abolished.
Yeah, they can go fuck themselves because also that they say that, but they're wrong because you know why? Doesn't suit me.
On a similar level to the placebo effect, I'd be interested in starting a religion cult just to see how far I can take people's delusions.
Me too.
I know you would love that.
Oh my God, so badly.
And you're like, I'm not here for the sex or for the power. I'm here for the science.
Yeah, I'm here to see what dumb shit I can make you do. Sorry, encourage you to do in the name of self-improvement. I just want to think about that for a moment.
It probably does parallel with that research on hypnosis, that there are variations in how hypnotizable people are, and it's all based on how suggestible different people are. So some people are really suggestible, and how focused you can get. So some people are really hypnotizable, and typically they're the people that they start reading a book and they're like, no, I'm reading a book. There is earthquakes can go around me, and
are you trying to talk about maybe both of our wives?
Look, and on the other end of the spectrum is me, and there is like, if there is any
book, anything, light switch,
like
the paint's slightly different. I've seen some lint. I'm in between.
I don't want to claim that as any great thing. I think it's just funny that
claim it, man.
My brain is probably not super hypnotizable just because I'm so friggin' distractible. But,
no, you're just busy, man. You're interested in a lot of things.
There you go. That's it.
You're not a specialist. You're a hardcore generalist.
All right, what do we got? Just a couple more, and then I tell my nice little favorite one.
I'm going to do this for you. I'm going to Elvis you.
Oh, this one wants to create miniature elephants just because it'd be nice.
Fuck, man, I've thought about that. Honestly, I say this to my wife quite often. I would love to have tiny animals. I would have a whole farm with like tiny little sheep.
Mice.
No, but I'm talking about like sheep.
Yeah.
I want cows that I could fit in my hand.
Oh my God, could you imagine? You build a Lego world and you have like little cows and stuff. That would be so cute.
There is nothing about me that doesn't want that, and I want that a lot. The idea of having an elephant that's smaller than a chihuahua makes me absolutely delighted.
Oh, it's just, I get it. And it's a weird, I mean, maybe we should do someone should tell me, I don't know if we need to do a podcast on it, but the instinct for cute, small versions of things, very strong.
I love miniature anything. Like seriously, we walk around Japan and there's it looks like a toy shopping trolley that's an inch tall. I want the toy shopping trolley. If it's supposed to be normal size,
are you a sucker for little tiny things?
I fucking love tiny things. I'm just obsessed with them. I went to Legoland and nearly died.
This one's isolation, but animals. Put an ecosystem of animals on their own island, but feed them and see if they continue to hunt or start using civil behaviour.
No. There's something going to involve the ability to read.
They will discourse.
Are they trying to say maybe creatures that are entirely predators will start eating carrots?
Maybe. I don't know. It's a zoo. I mean, okay, it's not an ecosystem, but I want a drug Olympics where everyone's using something.
I do too,
and there are many sports doing that as well.
Yeah.
So like this is my cute little one. I just like it so much. Because you can see that this person is stopped by ethics in a way that many of the other ones are dumb. Like there are certainly some scientists in there like, this is what I'd like to do. Like I reckon those experiments on placebos would be really interesting and nocebos. I think there's legitimate questions in the nature versus nurture, but just stop thinking about isolating.
There are ways to do it.
There's also some people in there like the plutonium kid, you're not a scientist. But this one is clearly a scientist who... I'm a wetland scientist and ecologist in general. When I'm out hiking and come across...
Did you say gynecologist in general?
No, ecologist. A wetland scientist and ecologist.
Ecologist.
And so this person, when I'm out hiking and come across massive beaver ponds, and there is a part of me...
let me let that wash over me.
No, leave it alone. Just let it sink in for a second. Yeah. Massive beaver ponds.
Yeah. Wait, my honest question. Is that a pond that's full of beavers?
There are beavers in it, but no, beaver dam. So for Australian listeners, I mean, I know Canadians are like, you don't freaking know what a beaver dam is. Beaver dams are quite big. I believe.
So that's what they're talking about. Like
it's a beaver dam, like the beaver
dam.
or the colony of beavers. I think a collection of beavers make it together.
Okay.
They dam up a river, and they can be quite big. Many tens of meters across, and the beavers will live in there, and they go to a nice little ecosystem. And this scientist just says, I want to know if you destroy bits of it, just push over a little bit of the beaver dam and see how the area below would flood and react to the sudden influx of water. Not overly destructive, but I just want to see what happens if I push over some beaver dams.
I just want to tweak beavers a little bit.
I just got to say, like, as your secret science fetish, just to know what happens if you push over.
What if I just slightly modify it?
You know what? Cut loose. Maybe no one is watching one day.
Dynamite a lot.
Be that scientist, be that mad scientist you wish to be, and push over a beaver dam. Just go ahead.
I think that might be difficult. They're pretty deep. They're pretty well constructed. I mean, obviously I'm a beaver dam semi-expert. All
right. What's your unethical research project?
Ooh. A lot of them are to do with fucking with people's really strong social beliefs that if they're violated, that makes them ill. I'm not going to go into detail.
Yeah,
but I wouldn't do them. But I'm fascinated by the extent to which things that we have been, weaned to believe as absolute truths, can affect our body extremely hard when they're violated.
Oh, okay. Is there an example?
Yep. There are heaps. No, but I mean, it really comes back to the thing I was saying earlier. Like the idea that. And because I say this because, as a teenager, I had my heart broken.
Oh, did you?
At least half the time. But, the idea that, someone cheated on you and for some people that will make them feel so horrible. Yeah. Never happened to me. No one's ever cheated on me. As if you cheat on this. But that they can be so messed up that it can ruin what they do. It could turn them into extreme edge, fucking serial killers, whatever. Because a social moray has been dented. And that fascinates me.
Okay. I like that.
But the experiment stuff, do I feel a desire to do that to people? I don't.
The only sort of social experiment, and this is what I was thinking when I was like, well, what would you do? What's the and it's an experiment that's actually been done.
There you go.
Well, no, it's just they stopped before they got all the way through. But it's stuff like the Facebook experiments. A couple of years ago, Facebook admitted, they came out, we were manipulating people en masse to see if we could make them happier or angrier, change their feed a little bit. And it's like, it's freaking weird when a company can go, we made
we did it.
20 million people unhappy today.
Look at the upside. When we tested it, we knew it worked.
But I think those mass social engineering questions are fascinating. And we're actually in a place where, governments absolutely did it for years in terms of trying to get people to do it, and a lot of it legitimately. But suddenly you're in the realm of companies can accidentally do it. They can just go, this is what, and there's fascinating stuff there.
Luckily, we're so clever that would never work on us.
Would you push over the beaver dam? That's not the right one. That one.
I'd blow that shit up. I'm going in with the TNT. If you're going to go there, destroy the whole thing. I know what'll happen. A lot of beavers died.
Bless that person's heart.
I just want to leak into 1/10 of it and see if they repair it.
I just want to ruin a beaver dam.
But not all of it.
There you go. Scientists, do ethical research, but it's okay to think about unethical research. But stop with the...
Think about whatever you want. We're not up to thought crimes yet.
Stop with the isolating kids.
Yeah, leave kids alone.
They don't need it.
That's one of our mottos.
Wholesome Show is full of mottos. One of them is, and you can take that to the bank. We'll be back next week, listener.